It's the ultimate betrayal. The one person you believed truly understood, you who could sense your pain and offer what felt like genuine comfort, starts using your deepest vulnerabilities as a weapon. And in that moment, you get a chilling feeling that their empathy isn't about connection. It's a tool for manipulation. You haven't just met a toxic person. You've stumbled upon what some researchers are now calling a dark empath, a personality profile that blends emotional intelligence with harmful intent. For a long time, we've assumed that people with dark personality traits like narcissism, Machiavellianism, and psychopathy simply lack empathy, but that might not be the whole story. An emerging concept in popular psychology describes a more complex and potentially dangerous profile, the dark empath. It's important to state up front that this is not a formal clinical diagnosis, but rather a term based on recent studies that's gaining traction to describe a specific pattern of behavior. To get what this means, we first need to understand that there are two main types of empathy. The first is affective empathy. This is what we usually mean when we say empathy. It's feeling with someone. When your friend is sad, you feel a pang of that sadness, too. The second is cognitive empathy. This is the ability to understand what someone is feeling on an intellectual level, without necessarily feeling it yourself. You can read the room, pick up on body language, and predict how someone might react. A healthy person has a good balance of both. Now, it's a bit of a myth that all individuals with narcissistic or psychopathic traits lack empathy entirely. In reality, while they often have very low affective empathy, their cognitive empathy can be surprisingly sharp. It's part of what can make them so manipulative. The dark empath profile takes this a step further. These individuals appear to have high cognitive empathy. They can read you like a book, but they have very low affective empathy, meaning they understand you're in pain. They just don't care. This combination is what allows them to figure out your emotional triggers and deepest insecurities. Not to help, but to control and exploit you. Today, we're breaking down 5 manipulative tactics often associated with this personality style. One of the first things you might notice is what you could call weaponized understanding. This is where a person uses their perceptiveness to make you deeply, almost unnervingly, dependent on them. Right from the start, they work to position themselves as the only person who truly gets you. They'll listen with an intensity that feels like a spotlight, soaking up every detail about your hopes, your dreams, and especially your fears and past traumas. They'll say things like, "It feels like I've known you forever," or "Nobody gets you the way I do." At first, this is incredibly validating. You finally feel seen. But this isn't connection, it's data collection. The person is building a detailed psychological map of you, not to get closer, but to find all the levers they can pull. They're learning your triggers, your insecurities, and the old wounds that still hurt. Here's how that might look. Let's say you tell a new partner about how your parents were always critical of your career, leaving you with a nagging feeling of not being good enough. A supportive partner would offer comfort. A person using dark empath tactics, however, files that information away. At first, they use it to shower you with praise, saying, "You're the most brilliant person I know." Your parents just didn't see it. This builds an intense bond. You feel like they're the antidote to a lifelong pain. But a few months later, in a totally unrelated argument, they'll subtly use that information against you. They might say, "Honestly, I'm starting to see why your parents were worried." You can be a bit unrealistic, don't you think? The blow is devastating. It's not a random insult. It's a precision strike on your most vulnerable spot, delivered by the one person you trusted with that secret. That's weaponized understanding in a nutshell, using their intimate knowledge of you not to protect you, but to control you. Another tactic to watch for is the use of malicious humor. A sharp wit can be charming, but in the hands of a manipulator, it becomes a tool for control. Their jokes are rarely just for a laugh. They're often sarcastic, passive-aggressive, and packed with thinly veiled insults designed to hit you right where you're most insecure. This goes back to their high cognitive empathy. Because they've studied you, they know exactly where to aim their verbal darts to make them hurt the most. If you're self-conscious about your job, their jokes will find a way to poke at your career. If you're sensitive about a past mistake, they'll bring it up in a funny story. And when you get upset, they immediately throw up the ultimate defense. "I was just kidding. Why are you so sensitive?" This is a nasty form of gaslighting. It's designed to make you doubt your own feelings. You start wondering, am I the problem? Am I just overreacting? That's exactly what they want. By disguising their cruelty as a joke, they get to hurt you while denying any responsibility. It's a win-win for them. They undermine your confidence and get away with it scot-free. For example, imagine you just gave a work presentation you were nervous about, and you're feeling proud of yourself. You tell your partner, who you suspect is using these tactics. Instead of just celebrating, they might say with a smirk, "That's awesome. See, even a broken clock is right twice a day. Kidding, I'm proud of you." Of course, that joke completely sours the moment. It's a subtle way to remind you of your own self-doubt and take the power out of your accomplishment. If you call them on it, they'll act shocked and accuse you of not being able to take a joke. It's a classic maneuver. Deliver a jab and then punish you for feeling the sting. A third tactic, and one of the most deceptive, is strategic vulnerability. This is when someone shares personal, often tragic stories about their past, not to build a real connection, but to get you to open up. It creates a false sense of mutual trust, making you feel safe enough to share your own deepest secrets. Someone using this tactic understands the power of a good sob story. They might tell you about a tough childhood, a cheating ex, or a professional betrayal. The story is usually crafted to make them look like a victim who has emerged wise and resilient. They're basically pretending to be a fellow wounded soul, creating the illusion that you share a special bond. You feel bad for them, you admire their supposed strength, and you feel an unspoken pressure to share something vulnerable in return. You think, this person has been through so much, they'll understand me, and that's the goal. Their vulnerability is just a key to unlock your own vault of secrets. The moment you start sharing, they switch back into data collection mode, taking careful notes on every fear, mistake, and weakness you confess. Imagine you're on a date, and the person shares a heartbreaking story about how their last partner cheated, leaving them with massive trust issues. The story is moving, and you feel a wave of empathy. So, you decide to share that you've also been cheated on and talk about how it made you feel insecure in new relationships. You feel like you're bonding over a shared trauma. But for the manipulator, this isn't a bonding moment. It's a strategic win. They've successfully used a story which may be exaggerated or completely fabricated to get you to reveal a core insecurity. Later, they'll use it. They might start acting in ways that trigger your paranoia. And when you get upset, they'll say, "See, I told you I had trust issues, but I never thought you'd be this insecure." They've turned your own vulnerability, which they expertly mined, into a weapon to control you. Recognizing these behaviors is the first and most important step toward protecting yourself. The main defense against this kind of manipulation is to rebuild trust in your own gut feelings. A manipulator's primary goal is to make you doubt yourself. If a relationship consistently leaves you feeling confused, anxious, and exhausted, listen to that. That's your internal alarm system telling you something is off, even if you can't quite put your finger on it. The next step is setting and enforcing firm boundaries. Manipulators thrive in environments without boundaries. Start small. Say no to a simple request and see how they react. A healthy person will respect your no. Someone who relies on these tactics will likely push back with guilt-tripping, passive aggression, or other manipulation. Their reaction will tell you everything you need to know. Finally, it's critical to understand that it is not your responsibility to fix them. While it's natural to want to help someone you care about, your compassion can be used as another tool for exploitation in these dynamics. Trying to change someone whose behavior is deeply ingrained is often a draining and fruitless battle. The safest path to healing is to focus on your own well-being, which may mean limiting contact or, if necessary, removing them from your life entirely. The concept of the dark empath is unnerving because it shows how something we value, empathy, can be twisted into a weapon. People who use these tactics are chameleons, often appearing to be the most understanding people you'll ever meet. But, as we've seen, their understanding isn't a bridge to connection. It's a tool for exploitation. From weaponized understanding and malicious humor to strategic vulnerability, these methods are designed to erode your self-worth and create dependency. The greatest defense you have is the one they try the hardest to take away: your trust in yourself. Your feelings are valid, your reality is real, and you deserve to be in relationships built on genuine care, not calculated manipulation. Have you ever encountered someone who uses these kinds of tactics? What was your experience? Sharing your story in the comments could help someone else who is feeling confused and alone. And if this resonated with you, please give it a like. Share it with someone who might need to see it. And subscribe for more content on navigating complex relationships and protecting your mental health.